What is up, boys? My name is Berate, and as you all know, Veto came out earlier today. Now, I don't think he is as broken of an agent as you think. However, I would be remiss if I didn't do some kind of guide going over the basics of how to play the character. So, in this video, I will simply be going over the basic game plan of Veto and how you can start playing him in your ranked games right now without absolutely tossing for your team. Without any further ado, let's get into it. And, as you all know, I'm doing this live. I don't stream very often, but this guide will be recorded live. So chat, say hi to YouTube. Join the Discord server if you want to get notifications on when I stream, and you can talk to me live. Let's talk about Veto. First off, I'm going to start off with Veto on defense. Veto's game plan on defense is to set up the site that the Sentinel would normally set up. I know that sounds pretty whack, but let's get into it. On this map, generally, you want to be setting up C. You want to default to C. However, if you notice that another part of the map is weak, you would then set up on that part of the map. Remember, your job as a Sentinel is to be an active deterrent to take away space from the opposition. How do you do that with Veto? Veto has a couple of tools to do that, and the way he does that is by denying utility. The way that he would deter someone from coming C is not the same way that a Cypher would deter someone from going C with like a tripwire or something. The way that he deters people from going C is by throwing this little doodad right here. This little doodad right here is the interceptor. It will essentially shoot util for you, and it'll also negate flashes and other things that you can't shoot. Point being, they can't exec the site with util. They just have to raw dog entry the site and just run in and shoot stuff. They're forcing you into 1v1 battles, 1v1 gunfights. That's what this is. However, this is not as broken as it sounds, because if I activate it, you see that a timer activates and you get about 7 or 8 seconds of this thing being active before it disappears and goes away. And it goes on a 40-second cooldown before you can use it again. So you have to time it. So the idea of this is you would time this the same way that you would time like a Vice Razor Vine. You wait until you hear footsteps come up to about the entrance of the choke point. You pop this thing to make it so that they can't throw their util, to stall for your team to rotate over. It is an active deterrent for pushing the site, because if they try and push the site without utility, you have off-angle advantage, you kill one, you get out, or you throw this thing. Now this little egg, this little doodad right here, has a couple of very useful uses, but it is essentially a fade seize, but also a tripwire. If they walk into its range, it'll seize them, and it'll seize anyone in the range. So this can seize multiple people, apparently. I haven't really tested this myself, and in the games that I played, I didn't really test this much. But as far as I know, this can seize multiple people. But even if it can just seize one person, that's fine. However, on maps like Lotus, I would actually use this more for information. This ability is very good to combo with other pieces of utility. Let's say, for example, you snare some people and your Raze wants to nade them. That's great. That's all well and good. I'm a big fan of that. In fact, you can actually just simply use this as a fade seize for, let's say, pushing out A. Let's say you just want to yuck this thing over like this along with a Raze nade to snare anyone that gets in its vicinity. You can do that. You have the ability to do that. There are lineups with this thing that are very, very oppressive once you figure them out. However, this is also a tripwire, so this is what you're going to be using for information. So a standard C setup on this map that I would do is I would throw this in a spot where it can't get shot, but it can still shoot things down as it's coming through the choke point. And then I would throw this in a spot where people can lurk up. So I'd throw this here to stop anyone from lurking up B. This is an active deterrent from lurking B, because not only do they get snared and trapped in this thing, and it gives me a chance to rotate over and maybe fight them, but at the very least, their timing is completely wasted and their jig is up, pretty much, because I know that they're lurking. It also gives me an opportunity to crush their timing, because it snares them for a little bit, and I can come over here and fight them if I so choose. Or I can hold for them as they're trying to run away, or I can walk up, get a timing. You have options once to snare someone. The other option is, let's say you aren't on a lurk-heavy map. Let's say you're playing on Ascent or something where you probably don't want to waste a whole trip for mid. It's better to just hold mid with an operator on that map. Let's say you want to throw it here. This is where you'd combo with other piece of utility. Dry swinging isn't really a good idea because chances are you're going to be snaring multiple people. And the people who aren't going to get snared are going to shoot you. So it's better to combo with other pieces of utility. Let's talk about the teleports. The idea with the teleports in defense are for fast repositions. Now, these have a range on them, kind of like chamber teleports. So these are chamber teleports, essentially. So you get to go here, you get to fight, whatever, but then you get to reposition and get out. I think, and I am a firm believer, that these teleports can be used aggressively. I've done this in a couple of my test games, but what I'll do on this map in particular is I will use them to push up to an advantageous position like behind mount. However, this is what is known as a multiple out technique. What do I mean by a multiple out technique? A multiple out technique is a strategy that has multiple ways that it could play out to be advantageous in your favor, depending on what the enemies do. So for this play in particular, my multiple out would be I would sit here and crouch behind mount. If I hear multiple sets of footsteps pushing towards me, I'm just going to leave. Because I know it's disadvantageous to fight the 2v1. However, if for some reason, I forgot to reset this up. If for some reason I only hear one set of footsteps, I'm in a really good off angle to kill that person and then leave. Or kill that person and push out. I believe that his teleports are good for multiple out scenarios, like this. Another example would be, let's say I want to get to an advantageous position on B and I set it up here. I can walk across here to the box and I can sit here. 99% of the time, this is going to get cleared. And the second that I hear a single gunshot trying to clear this box, I'm out of here. Because oftentimes what high elo will do is they will wall the box like this. However, if they don't clear me, I get the opportunity to get one and dip. Very strong multiple out strategies. Don't confine yourself to it. Now, what these things aren't used for is rotates. Unless you blow both of them. There are, you can chain these. You can chain these like this. So let's say, for example, I want to use them to rotate sort of like this, right? So I'm over here, right? I'm fighting like this, and I'm like, oh golly gee darn it, SpongeBob. They're going A, and I have a really fast track rotate to go over to A. You can also use these as chain rotates, but I believe that you can set yourself up for aggressive plays. Why do you want to play aggressively with this character? Thank you for asking, chat. Why did... honestly, for the meme, just spam in chat, why do I want to play aggressively with this character? The answer is ultimate orbs. The ult orbs on this character are very important because this ultimate is absolutely busted. It removes any negative status effect from you and gives you regeneration. That means that you fire faster, you reload faster, you regen your health. When you're sitting idly, not taking damage, you regen your health. On top of that, you're immune to every single status effect in the game. That includes flashes, that includes stuns, that includes decay, that includes a freaking Cypher trip or a Raze ult or a Teho ult or anything like that. That is broken. And the fact that this is a 7-point ultimate means that you need to be farming as many of these little doodads as you possibly can. So play aggressive, farm the doodads, and leave. And also, he's a sentinel, so he is free reign to go flanking and lurking as much as he wants, and I will not get mad at you for that. If you're flanking and lurking on a duelist, what are you doing? But if you're flanking and lurking on a sentinel, I love you and I want you in my ranked games, and I also desire you romantically. Yeah, I'm cutting that out of it. No, I'm leaving it in. Who edits videos nowadays? Anyways. Let's talk about him on offense. Veto on offense is extremely simple. You trip flank and do whatever the heck you want. Yeah, that's about it. I think that's enough for like a Veto beginner guide. If you enjoyed this video, please feel free to leave a like and subscribe. Join the Discord server down below. And buy my coaching. If you like the information that I give and the way that I present it, you will love a coaching session from me. I keep the prices as reasonable as I possibly can. And if you think that's something you're interested in, Medify link is near the top of the description. With all that being said, this has been Berate, and remember to brush your teeth today. Because I know for a fact I haven't. Bye-bye.